Well, we're back for another fantastic evening of racing here in the RaceRoom Super Touring Championship. It's myself, Lewis McGlade, it's Cameron Roger back alongside, as it was 2 weeks ago, where we went to the Hockenheim Ring for some epic racing, both on the Classic and on the Modern. Cam, great to be back. What an epic evening it was.
Yeah, it was crazy. First of all, to have this style of racing back on our screens in esports, but also to have, especially the classic Hockenheim Ring for a couple of races, that was awesome to see. But then we went back to the modern as well, and it changed up the order a bit. It made it a bit sort of interesting in terms of the standings. So I'm very interested with how that's going to work over the season because obviously they're sort of similar circuits, both the Hockenheim, whereas today we go to completely different circuits for the two or the three races.
Let's talk about those races then and the circuits that we'll be racing at over the season. And of course, the circuit we're racing at here tonight. So we've done Hockenheim Ring, both Classic and New. We'll be doing the Classic and New later on in the season with, of course, Silverstone for round 4 of the championship. But for round 2, which is where we're at now, we've got Estoril, which is for the opening 2 races. That's also the circuit which the leaderboards have taken place on. So everyone's qualified into the round. But for the main race later on in the evening, we'll be heading to Donington Park, running the Grand Prix circuit there to take on something very, very different. So 2 completely different circuits for us to deal with. They have to qualify for all 3 races. The opening 2 races, they are an 8-minute qualifying session for a 15-minute race for both races 1 and races 2. And then, of course, for qualifying for the final race, it is a long qualifying session and a 25-minute race. So something a bit different. Obviously, the way their tyres are going to work out is going to be very different. Let's talk about those circuits, though, Cameron. Of course, let's talk about Estoril. Very different kettle of fish to what we had back in Hockenheim Ring. Kind of a good racetrack for cars like this.
Absolutely. Of course, you had the long start-finish straight, but the rest of the track is pretty tight and twisty, and especially now, well, in the last sort of 25 odd years, we've got the chicane in the final sector as well. Some good overtaking opportunities there, as well as at the end of the back straight. So I think there's going to be a lot of action here once again, but is someone going to pull away at the front? We saw, for instance, on the classic Hockenheim, it looked like the Honda Accord was the way to go in terms of chassis choice, but then it was the Audi when we came to the modern Hockenheim as well. So I think car choice is going to be a big thing. But remember, the drivers can choose 2 different chassis for the 2 different tracks. So you have to do quite a bit of practice here. But as for Estoril, I think it is going to be a bit of a good one. And I can't wait to see how it's going to work because it's a bit of a sort of a half and half track with the long straight and then the twisty corners.
Now, why would you listen to 2 fat commentators talk about it when we can ride on board with Luca Kita to give us a bit of a guide around the Estoril circuit?
Welcome here for the second round of the RSTC at Estoril, a beautiful circuit for these cars, really nice racing, and I'm going to show you a lap around the circuit. We have a hairpin here for turn 1, we start braking around the 100 meter board, shifting down to second gear, turn in for the curb here, accelerate early out of the curb to get the momentum here, going now into this fast right-hander. Don't cut too much and don't be too fast because we don't have the aerodynamics to keep that corner full throttle. Going up the hill here now, we don't really have any braking mark for these, so it's really muscle memory in your practice laps. Going here for the second left-hander, basically same. We want to get the momentum here because if we remember what's in front, we have a long straight after the small right-hander here, which allows of course the first big movements in a race. Coming now down to this really long left-hander, which is kind of special. We brake shortly after that 100 meter board, going to the inside here, trail along this corner, it's really, really important. And now go to the outside and have an eye on the 50 meter board here on the left side before braking for this right-hander. Shift down into second gear and go early on throttle again. Coming now to the favorite part of the track, this really nice chicanes here. And here it's really important that you don't cut too much curb because the cars love to go onto 2 wheels and that's what we want to avoid. Important is to go early on throttle again to take the momentum again. Going here on the curb, clip over this left side curb before going now into this really long right-hander. Back on the start finish straight, and here it's really all about carrying the speed through the whole corner and then having this nice run on the really long straight. Yeah, into turn 1 again, and with that, that's a quick track guide here around Estoril for the second round of the RSTC. Hope you enjoyed it and wish you good luck racing.
proving then that he is absolutely no wimp. Luca Keita there, giving us a little bit of a ride around in the E36. You can see qualifying then is underway here at Estoril, and of course you can see the list of drivers out on the circuit. Those that will be keeping an eye on. Benz Farkash, he was absolutely fantastic last round, this time taking the Audi A4. This is a look at the cars we'll be racing around. So we've got the Honda Accord, we've got the Alfa Romeo, we've got the 2 Volvos there, the Opel Vectra, the E36 we've just seen the lap on, and the Audi A4, which was definitely the choice for the 25-minute race back in the Hockenheim ring. You can see it's had 21 kilos added to it, and it's already not a light car in the first place. Of course, the only one of them that's all-wheel drive. We've got front-wheel drive there, we've got rear-wheel drive as well. A few drivers in there though to keep an eye on. We've said before, Benz Farkash definitely one too. Rob Wiesemuller, guy's a weapon out there on the circuit. Also, Cam, we've got Moritz Lerner on the grid. He's listened to the call. He did put in his in his notes the shared information that he can pass on to us as the commentators. He put, "It's my first esports race. I hope I can have a fun race." What a liar.
First esports race. Not quite sure
Moritz
about
Lerner.
that one.
Don't think so.
Well, I'm looking forward to having him on the grid, absolutely. And in general, the grid is absolutely stacked. We saw it last time out as well. A lot of top, high-quality caliber drivers, and you never know who is going to come out on top and just put in an absolute, barnstormer of a race. And the fact that we have 2 races here at Estoril, if you have a bit of an advantage at this track, then of course you have a really good chance of getting maximum points before we go to only the 1 race at Donington. So if you practice well, then you're going to come out on top. But yeah, in general, that grid is looking pretty good.
It is looking good, Florian Haase, Jan Stanger, Steph Kramers. It's honestly, it's a cracking grid of cars, and we'll see what else. We were in London for Formula E or a week and a bit ago, and I was talking to Eric Strana of the FIA. He used to race these cars quite a lot, and I passed on the message to Rob Wiesemuller that I was talking to Eric, and he said he needs to jump in the fridge with him, i.e. the Volvo. And so I also agree. I think we're going to get just an old boys. This is actually fair. It's kind of what I want. The old boys, the old classic touring car drivers from back in the day in sim racing jumping on, of course, with some of the new talents that we've got in the world of sim racing. But that's what this whole series is about, and why it's such a good throwback.
Absolutely. It's nothing like what we see in most of the other championships in sim racing, and the fact that we're getting a lot of these drivers come out here is very, very good indeed. And one thing, Lewis, that I found quite interesting is the car choice. It looks like right at the top, the Audi is looking fast once again, and Andika Ramanmalana is looking very fast so far, going purple in that middle sector as he's worked his way through the S's in towards the final corner. And it looks like even with that 21 kilos of ballast, this is going to be the car to choose, at least at Estoril.
Yeah, Andika Ramanmalana, another late evening for him is what he's posted in our little message board as well. So that's fine. Obviously, he does have a solid fan base as the Legion of Races driver. Andika Ramanmalana across the line. Going to move up into 3rd position. Audi's running 1st through 7th. Benz Farkash moves his way onto provisional pole position with Christian Orban up to 6th position. Benz Farkash not taking the Honda Accord. Rob Wiesemuller, though, this is the 3rd different car we've seen him in, I'm pretty sure, because we saw him in a Volvo at first, then an Audi, and now we're seeing him take on the Alfa Romeo.
Do you reckon he's just trying out all the cars, just trying to work out what's best as he's spinning up the wheels there, coming out of the chicane? As oh my god, he really is sliding his way through. And look at him leaning into the corner as well. You'd be thinking this is MotoGP, but no, we are out here in the Super Touros as he comes out of the final corner, really taking it serious. Is that a G29 as well? That is a hot wheel. And it's a hot lap as well, potentially. Is he going to be improving from his 12th position? He had some pace out at the Hockenheim ring, but no, not today.
I never knew that Rob Wiesemuller leaned that much until we were doing some hot laps. This is 2018 at the RaceRoom Cafe in the Nürburgring. In the main building in the Nürburgring, was having a little drive on there, and I saw him behind the wheel. I was terrified. I've never seen such intensity behind the wheel of sim racing. It's why he was very good back in the day and why he won a lot of races, a lot of championships. So now we're glad we get to see that. Purple sector's coming in though. Bence Farkash flying at the moment through Sector 1 and Sector 2. And Dika Ramalana also firing on all cylinders, setting a purple first and second sector as the yellow flag comes out in Sector 3.
Yeah, it's all purples in the top 5 as they try to improve their lap times. 1 minute to go. Session ends when it ends. You can't finish your lap. So this is basically their final laps, final chance, final opportunity. And there we go to the front for Farkash. 1 and 1.6 tenths of a second. But look how close it is in behind. And actually, him to go in purple there's taken that away from everyone else since we're seeing Haase here coming through the final corner. Purple first sector, a little bit slower in that middle. Can he make it up in the final corner?
He's trying to launch one there through that final turn. Could potentially move up onto the front row of the grid. Let's see what he can do in the bright yellow. Audi up towards the line. He's currently in 5th position. Any improvement from him? Just about up to 2nd position. So he gets within a 10th of Bence Farkash. Comes to a close in that session. Lloyd Biddulph as well. No improvement. Stays in 7th position. Rob Wiesmüller sessions come to a close. Everyone's session has come to a close. And it is a familiar sight. Bence Farkash, who dominated the opening 2 races back at the Hockenheimring, once again starting out on top. As Haase, Filippo, and Dika Ramalana, Ribeiro, of course, Christian Orban, Biddulph, Chari, Stanger, Lerner as well, that top 10. But one thing, Cam, we've got a lot of Pager drivers. Look at all of these drivers that we've got out on the grid. And again, to be fair, I would say 1.5 seconds over the top 20. I think that's actually pretty tight in these cars, which are quite difficult to drive, especially around such a complicated circuit.
Yeah, it's a very tricky technical circuit as well. There's a lot of stop, start where you can lose a lot of time. Because if you think in the fast corners, you're going so fast, it's actually quite difficult to lose time. But in the slow corners, you spend so much time there. If you brake a bit later, if you get on the power a lot later, you're going to lose a lot of time. So the fact that it is pretty close out there means I think we're going to get a good race today. We've got 2 quite long straights. We've got some great overtaking opportunities as well. This is that amazing sort of long, it's not quite a hairpin, sort of a long corner, turn 4. And as you work your way sort of to the back end of the track, this is there at Orella, and sometimes a good overtaking opportunity. So there's quite a lot. It's just they're quite long corners here, so you have to be very committed already on the entry.
I think if there's one thing that this circuit is good for in these kind of cars, and I would not normally encourage this, and it is a serious championship still. It is very, very serious. We've got race stewards and all this kind of stuff, but as we were kind of saying, especially in race 1 and race 2, kind of like a little bit of a throwback. A little bit of door banging. I'm just saying. It's one of those ones. Well, they have taken to the grid then. 31 cars to do 15 minutes of racing here at Estoril with Bence Farkash on pole position. Florian Haase, Enzo Filippo and Dika Ramalana, Tomas Ribeiro, Christian Orban, that top grouping. Great start coming through the middle from Enzo Filippo to try and take over the race lead as we go on to the breakdown of the first corner. Has already flown past Florian Haase and Bence Farkash. And by the time we come to that first turn, Farkash looks back to the outside. Filippo's got the inside run as we see further down the order the likes of Bo Dixon on debut in this championship trying to work their way up the order, of course with Hudjek, Wiesmüller in there, Jean Petre. It's very tricky in this mid-lot, but one important thing, Filippo has taken over the race lead with a bit of a dive coming in there.
Yeah, that is Haase making a big send down the inside. He's gone way wide off onto the gravel. He's going to be losing some time. We're going to be 3 wide. We're actually 2 wide for the lead as well, as Filippo is having to fend from this one. But up the inside is going to be Farkash down the end of the back straight. Is he going to be able to retake that race lead? Yes, he is, as he had that inside line and in behind as well. We've got Milana making some moves up into 4th position, taking advantage of the issues for others.
Did see that Rydell had a bit of a problem. A bit of a contact, I think, was kind of sent down the order a little bit further down, as there's some side-by-side behind all this. Florian Haase, Lloyd Biddulph going side-by-side in the background over about 7th position. Jan Stanger also in the mix. Defensive line coming in from Bence Farkash. This is Florian Haase to the outside. Big send to the inside coming in from Jan Stanger. Absolutely fantastic send. Florian Haase, though, leaving it side-by-side, trying to muscle his way back through. Lloyd Biddulph, I think, might have actually been the one with the full-on big send in there. Florian Haase, Jan Stanger, you've got Moritz Lerner directly behind, the highest placed non-Audi driver on this field, inside the top 10 in what he's classified as his first esports race.
This is a crazy opening lap. Look at everyone moving left, right. I think this is almost like a motorbike race, as I was mentioning earlier, but definitely not. It is the Super Tourist down in towards the first corner. Any big sends under the brakes? Anyone feeling a little bit too confident? It's actually Filippo there on the... oh, that is huge contact. Almost 4 wide through the first corner. Florian Haas, who's had an interesting first lap, loses another place down into 9th, just up ahead of him. We're going side by side, as well as the drivers try and find a way through, but it looks like not quite. There's actually Chari, I think, making the move on Lerner, who's now lost another place to Haas.
Chari had already got through. The big move was coming in from Florian Haas, trying to get past Moritz Lerner. Bo Dixon now looking to the outside of Jan Stanger as they work their way through. VIP now on the backstretch through the fast kink as they drop down and into the interior parabolica. That left-hander, there comes the look from Rob Wiesenmuller as well, trying to work his way through. Also, you've got Moritz Lerner in the foreground trying to make a move. There comes Rob Wiesenmuller straight down the inside. Unfortunately, Lerner was not able to do it, but Wiesenmuller might be able to complete a move for the Alfa Romeos.
Might do. He's going to have to be on the outside, though. Very difficult at this part of the track. But all the way around the outside, it does just pinch you here on the exit. Looks like they've made it stick. And no, they haven't, as Bo Dixon really trying to fight this one. But now he's going to be on the outside himself in towards this very tricky chicane. Contact in the background. Jean Petre upside down. Jean Petre's gone over and over. But I think he's landed on all fours and should be able to get back going.
We give a salute and say goodbye. Jean Petre down the order, absolutely sent going into that tight left hand. Not 100% sure as to who it was that gave the sending, but now we have a quartet of Alfa Romeos for 15th position. Vinieri, Kramers, Daniel, Vladisavljevic as well in the middle of all of this as they head down at the start-finish straight once more. Seth Kramers going down the inside. Is there going to be a move on Vinieri here?
I think there might be. It's such a long run. He's been side by side forever. Up the inside is going to be just a tiny bit of door rubbing as all of the cars in the exact same livery work their way through the first corner. Steph Kramer is still trying to complete this move. Vinieri round the outside is going to be losing another place. Peter Daniel is that third car down the inside. He now has that second position in this little battle pack as Kramer's trying to hold it around the outside. Peter Daniel here might be actually able to get 2 of them as he gets the run off the corner. He's now got the outside line as we work our way onto the back straight.
Yeah, but they've all kind of like, as they're battling between each other, Vladisavljevic is kind of sat there looking and thinking maybe the move's going to be mine. However, now stares at the back end of Vinieri. Back up the order to Jan Stanger on the rear end of Moritz Lerner. Rob Wiesenmuller directly behind. Alfa Romeo's either side of this very tasty Audi sandwich. With Jan Stanger in the middle, looking to the inside of Moritz Lerner, but decides not to go for a move. Meanwhile, Florian Haas was trying to get past Patrick Chari. And a little bit further down the order, Rene Buttler, I think, might even be out of the race.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame, of course, for the Overtake GG team, but that seems like it is DNF on the tower, and he will be having to come back for that second race. But that's a good opportunity because they do get a qualifying session for every race. So if he smashes it next time round, he'll be starting a little bit higher than his finishing position. Currently, Peter Daniel is stopping him once again with Vinieri in the midfield. But we go back to the front. We haven't seen this for a little while. Farkas leading, but Filippo pushing him basically down the front straight.
And we never saw this back in Hockenheim Ring, especially not in race 1 and race 2. An actual battle for the race lead. Bence Farkas was able to check away into the distance in the Honda Accord. Looking to the outside, coming in from Enzo Filippo, straight around the outside of the first turn. He's got to stay to the outside as they go into the fast kink at turn 2. Rubbing between the two of them, opening the door potentially for Ribeiro, but he drops back into line. Up the hill they go through the right-hander and maybe pushing out wide. Filippo getting a touch. But of course, Ribeiro planting the throttle down in that all-wheel drive Audi.
Yeah, it's funny to see because it is kind of front-wheel drive, but then it just has this little bit of a kick from the rear at the same time. It's a very interesting way that it exits the corners. Really has to be planted on the throttle there. But what it's allowed is Farkas to get a couple of car lengths as we come down the back straight. Filippo's going to have to sit there in that second place. Ribeiro in third. They are pulling away quite nicely from Milana and Orban, who were involved in this battle a little bit earlier. But it is a three-way up towards the front, and it looks like Farkas is holding on very nicely indeed. He's got a lot of control over this race. But what I loved actually with Filippo there through the first corner is he was just trying to get Farkas offline more so than overtaking on the outside of turn 2. It wasn't enough last time around, but maybe it gives him some ideas for the future.
So allowing Andika Ramamolana and Christian Orban to close in, and again, when they all fight, maybe it's going to allow Lloyd Biddulph to also close in. Florian Haas, Patrick Chari, probably less so Moritz Lerner, Jan Stanger and Rob Wiesenmuller and the lights behind us. Bo Dixon and Hujek have their battle over 12th position. We go back to that one with Dixon hanging on from Hujek in the Alfa Romeo there, directly behind is Schulze as well. Another one of those Audis. A lot of Audis, very popular this round. Wonder how that's going to be when they go to Donington Park for the third race of the evening.
It definitely is very Audi dominated, but then the midfield is all in the Alfa Romeos. So maybe that is a little bit of the chassis order as well. Although, to be honest, with the 20-odd kilos, the Audi is certainly a lot slower than what it could be. And if some of the fast drivers choose the Audi, then everyone follows suit and chooses it as well. We come back to this battle. Kramer's Petter Daniel going side by side as we work our way through the second corner. Daniel there's in the middle as he's trying to now find the outside line. Huge send of Vladislav down the inside as he actually pushes wide. Petter Daniel goes wide. This is going to be a double move as we're going to see Steph Kramer's lose a position here maybe.
Vladisavljevic trying to get to the outside once more and trying to pick them apart. To be fair, trying to pick any of these Alfa Romeos apart is an absolute nightmare as to which one is which. So if we get it the wrong way around, we do apologise. But these are liveries they got. This must have been a nightmare back in the day. I think you literally got a spotter's guide and that's about all you've got. As some more moves coming in. Vinieri looking to the inside. Out wide goes Petter Daniel. Vladisavljevic making a move through, and down the order goes Daniel, past Vinieri, getting squeezed out wide. Luciano Vitfort, Sebastian Ray also trying to chuck the way into it. Please don't get involved too much, Sebastian Ray, or Kubilaya as well, because that means there would be 6 Alphas in this fight, and my brain can't take that.
This is getting a bit intense. Oh, we're almost 3 wide. As you come through the chicane, they somehow get back into a single file formation. As you look back, this is Petter Daniel, and Vitver's dropped down. He's almost making up some moves, and now Vinieri has dropped down the way as well. This is absolutely crazy stuff, as we've still got 6 minutes left in this race. Up the inside, I think that's Vinieri trying to make a move, force his way through. And to be honest, he's actually made it work as he come onto this back straight. We're going 2 by 2, almost as they get the run, get the slipstream. Who wants to make the move? I think it's Petter Daniel now to be coming to the inside.
Yes, indeed. Let's see if there's going to be any moves. Defensive lines coming in. Luciano Vitfort trying to keep Sebastian Ray at bay. Big move to the inside coming in from Petter Daniel, and will complete the move on Vladisavljevic. Although the up and under is going to work in favour, and so Vladisavljevic back through into 16th position. Are seeing some of your messages, by the way, in chat, everyone watching, because of course we know people are keeping a keen eye on this fantastic battling, suggesting that potentially even Donington Park might be a bit more of an Audi couple. I do wonder if there's any drivers out on circuit at the moment might be thinking, I might change what car I'm running at Donington Park based on what they're seeing, if they're able to. Of course, if you do have any questions, drop them in the chat. We are actually able to bring in Captain Coffee this round to answer any questions you might have as well. So a few more things we can add to this broadcast. Rob Wiesemuller, though, probably getting about as close to that apex as you or I would. That was wide.
We say we're not that washed yet. We'll find one day.
Were you saying that Rob Wiesemuller is a worse driver than you and I? All right.
Absolutely not. He smashed me. In fact, he did. Katowice. That's a huge send up the inside.
Off the road,
oh, did he? I'm sure you remember that one. You never forget. As Schulze having a big send almost down the inside. He tried it into the chicane. Hasn't made that work from Kujek as we work our way through this final corner. You have to be so patient here, actually, especially in the more front-wheel drive driven cars. You can push wide very easily, but then you get the run down this long straight. It's a big load of slipstream as you work your way towards the hardest braking zone on the track. We are status quo, though, up towards the front. And if anything, Ribero's dropped a car length, but it doesn't really matter so much just yet.
It doesn't at all, really. We'll have 3 laps left to go, including the one that we're on. 4 minutes left on the clock. Takes about 1:40, maybe slightly longer to get around the circuit. So there's plenty of time for 3 more laps. And Bence Farkas, well, you can feel that pressure building and building and building. And these kind of cars, they do allow you to get a little bit abrasive on your overtake attempts. And I'm sure Enzo Filippo will be well aware of that one. Ribeiro as well. Does seem as though Andika Rowan Molana might not get a chance at victory, trying to keep Christian Orban at bay, but thankfully has pulled away from Florian Haase and Lloyd Biddulph behind Patrick Chari. Of course, Moritz Lerner, Jan Stanger, the top 10 at present. There comes the move coming in from Farkas, rather at least just defending, but doing a very good job soaking up the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like you can defend around this circuit. It's not an absolute slam dunk move. So if you're able to put your car in a good position, then you will be holding on to these places. And that is obviously so important. But for Farkash, having a couple of wins already, looking very strong in the championship and trying to make that a third. But Ribeiro, I just realized, home race, of course. Portuguese driver, Portuguese track. He would love to get a win. At least in one of the two races that we've got here at Estoril. He's sitting in nicely, but look at Farkash. He can feel the pressure in behind Carney. He's having to come to the defensive line to try and stop something happening from the Frenchman behind.
Yeah, it does seem as though that Farkash has got good drive, though, off that final turn, which takes him down that start-finish straight brilliantly. Slipstream not overwhelmingly powerful here in the Super Tourers, as they weren't back in the day, because... Well, to be fair, that actually kind of encouraged some of the door banging. I'm not going to lie. I've seen some fair amounts of footage being, especially to be fair, being shared recently quite a lot on social media. I've seen Jack Keithley post a few bits from the old Super Tourist days. Why is he still not on the grid? Sort it out then.
I don't know. Maybe he's trying to get a wheel or something. He probably, rookie and all that. As we've a big send up the inside. That is all over the grass. I'm not sure that's the exact way to do it, but it's Stanger and Lerner as we go side by side down the straight. We've got Lerner on the Alfa Romeo. That is on the right-hand side. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? He has got the run, actually, as we get towards the braking zone, as the job is done. Huge send in the background as well, as we've got Bo Dixon following them through in the yellow machine, trying to now get involved in this battle.
Yeah, Bo Dixon's flying up to the rear end of Jan Stanger. And, of course, Moritz Lerner in this fight for 9th position. I mean, look, if Jan Stanger and Bo Dixon could both get through on Moritz Lerner, it would be an Audi 1, 2 and 3. There comes the look to the inside, going down to the chicane. No actual big send coming in from Stanger, but you kind of get the feeling from what we're seeing here, it might be a matter of when and not if.
Absolutely. It looks like that at this moment in time, but we still do have a lap to go in this race. As they come across the line, about 1 minute 40 a lap. So, yeah, this will be on to the final lap of the race. Final opportunity, especially in towards turn 1. Are we going to see any big sends? Filippo was half sleeping there. Had to change his to a defensive line to stop Ribeiro coming through. And in the background, Orban still trying to find his way through. Is off the track, holding on to that 4th place even.
It's a good job it's the Audi, isn't it? It's good at off-roading, so it's fine. The all-wheel drive certainly would help if you're going a little wide out of T1. But Andika Raul Milana now feeling the pressure from Christian Orban. And that gap back to Florian Haase has almost completely disappeared. It returns to a second. What moves are we going to get between this lot, though? We return to the fight between Moritz Lerner, Stanger, Dixon as well. The fight for 9th, 10th and 11th position.
As it looks like Dixon's obviously found his way through into the middle, but can he get to the front of this battle pack? He's got Lerner to try and get through. Actually, he hasn't got the run off the corner that I was expecting. I thought it easily walks that position, but he's have to battle it in the braking zone. Actually, Stanger heavy on the brakes, and Dixon has gone back down. So this is a great battle, but it looks like Lerner's going to hold on if these two keep battling. Yep,
doing a great job at the moment in, again, he said it, his first esports race. It's absolutely full of it. It's fine. Onto the brakes they go, into the chicane. Christian Orban trying to get past Andika Raul Milana, knocking at the door also is Florian Haase. Bence Farkash, though, is comfortably clear. Half a second, 3/4 of a second now, as he heads through the final corner to take yet another victory in the championship. We caught up with him back in the Hockenheim ring after race number 3. Looks as though we might need to catch up with him once more. And so does the rest of the field also. Off the line comes Bence Farkash to take victory again in the RaceRoom Super Touring Championship. Enzo Filippo and Ribeiro will cross the line in 2nd position. Tomas Ribeiro not able to find his way past Filippo on home soil. And Andika Raul Milana, though, seems to be the fan favourite in 4th spot ahead of Christian Orban. Whoa, there comes a bit of a crash.
Yeah. We won't talk about that one. But actually, in the end, it was very, very close between Ribeiro and Filippo. Basically, 0.5 of a second. Ribeiro got the run off the final corner, but unfortunately, the straight was too short. And he actually got the fastest lap of the race as well. So definitely had some speed in that Audi of his. But he needs to try and get past those two drivers when we get to the 2nd race of the evening.
Let's take a look at some of those finishes. Of course, Farkash, Filippo, Ribeiro, Raul Milana, Orban, those we've spoke about. Haase, Bidoff, Chari, Lerner and Stanger, the top 10. So Lerner at least getting an Alfa Romeo into the top 10 to save our blushes and not see it as being the Audi party, that it would be inside the top 10. Those behind: Bo Dixon, Rob Wiesemuller, Hudjek, Schulze, Kramers, Daniel, Vladisavljevic, Venieri, and of course Ray and Vitfo, the 20 cars in that top group. But there's still 11 more left to go, including a single retirement. Stramet in 21st position with Kubalaya, then Volta, of course, Ardei, Lin, Jean Petre, who we saw getting absolutely sent, which, yeah, a bit of a sad one. Wolk, of course, the lone overtake GT car in the race at the end of it. Bent, Nats, Rodell, of course, in 30th position, getting hit off on lap 1, coming through the 4th corner. Rene Buttler, the only retirement from the race. I'm sure getting involved in the absolute cluster in that midfield.
Yes, it was certainly a lot of shenanigans going on around there. It's so close out there on the track. Obviously, we don't focus on the midfield so much, but you can just see when we look down, you have these big battle packs, 6-7 cars all in a row. It's very easy to get tangled up. And obviously for Jean Petre, I mean, he just got barrel rolled upside down at the chicane. So it can happen, unfortunately, in these Super Tourers. And that was certainly something quite frantic. But it was great fun up towards the front there. We saw a lot of good battles side by side. Of course, there is a little bit of rubbing here and there, but that's Super Tourers.
But the important bit was that even despite flipping, he still finished. So it's something. It is something. There was, to be fair, less door banging than what I thought in that race. It was really good racing, as we expect. That's kind of what we've been seeing a little bit in the 4 races that we've had thus far in this championship, and we're seeing that continue. I suspect we're going to see it continue more so in race 2, and of course race 3 of the evening. I'm very excited about it. I do like myself a little bit at Donington Park.
Absolutely, it's a great track, but of course, for now, we basically have a roles reverse once again. We're going to have another 8-minute qualifying session into that 15-minute race. And is it going to be a repeat, though? You've got to go and do that qualifying lap time once again, and you have to be, not making any mistakes, especially if you want to go for the championship. You can't be making a mistake in qualifying, starting P20, and then you're never going to get a good result. So for the likes of, Farkash, Filippo up towards the front there, they've got to be doing it over again. But for someone like Ribeiro, fastest lap in the race last time out. He's got a lot of confidence, almost got 2nd place at the end there. I'd love to see him nick a pole position.
Yeah, and it certainly can happen, just how these cars really kind of qualify. You can have those good qualifying, you can have those bad ones as well. Not long qualifying sessions, just 8 minutes. We'll be starting that one in about 2 minutes time for the 2nd race of the evening. But one of the more notable features of this championship, counter to how we've had, say, things in something like the RaceRoom Rank Championship, we see for like the special events that we do, where qualifyings are closed to fair, it's just you and the track. In this, it's wide open. It is you, the track, and 30 other cars. You've got to know at some point you're going to be on a good lap, and you're going to get some form of block by someone slower, by someone making a mistake on their lap, by someone being out of position. It's going to happen.
Absolutely. The closed qualifying sessions are quite good fun in some ways, because you get the absolute best lap and you get perfection basically. But when you have this, you've got to be a little bit smart. You've got to allow yourself to get a gap. And obviously what we saw a couple of weeks ago at Hockenheim as well, find someone to get a bit of a slipstream potentially, but then are they too slow in the corners? Are they going to hold you up? So I think you're going to see a lot of drivers try and go out as early as they can in the session so that there's no one ahead of them. But if you're not in the first 5-10 cars and you're P15, P20 in the train, you've got a lot of problems.
Yeah, and of course, sometimes that is almost out of your hands. When you start from the pit lane to begin your out lap and stuff, you can just be in the middle of all of it. And what do you do then? Do you try and fly past everyone to get some track position? Do you kind of just remain where you are? Also, sometimes a little bit of slipstream can help. Less so around here at Donington, but certainly when we were racing at Hockenheim Ring for the opening round of the championship, when we were running the pre-2002 layout, I think it was kind of very helpful. And even then, to be fair, a little bit of slipstream, it doesn't really hurt in these cars. There's no dirty air. Well, there is, but you know what I mean? It's negligible.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And sometimes having a bit of a spotter for braking references, turning in references, etc., can be quite good. If you're one of the mid-pack drivers and you find yourself behind Farkash, for instance, you're going to find a couple of tenths just by following their line. And with how close it is in that midfield, it could be quite good. So that is quite a good thing in terms of just your technique. But if you've got yourself into the top split, you're definitely a fast enough driver. So it's not too much to worry about from that regard. I think the fact that we have 2 qualifying sessions is very interesting for those who maybe have a bit of a one-lap wonder as well. You just slide the car perfectly in a couple of corners, you get that lap, whereas the faster drivers, I mean, they're just fast all the time, so they're going to be at the top either way.
Yeah, indeed. Well, practice has finished, and we will be getting into the second qualifying session and the second race of the evening in a few moments' time. Basically a copy and paste as to what we've just had in the first race. There'll be an 8-minute qualifying session. There will be a 15-minute race, and it will be around Estoril. So obviously a copy and paste on that side. But this is the last race that we do on Estoril this evening. Of course, after that, we'll be heading to Donington Park for a 10-minute qualifying session and a 25-minute race. And they don't have much time to prepare themselves for that. So it's kind of one of those ones, if you're not confident around Donington Park, then you kind of have to be like, right, I've got to capitalize on this race, because next race I don't know how it's going to go.
I can guarantee you there are a lot of people who would have only practiced Estoril, and then maybe yesterday we'd be like, actually, let's do some laps on Donny, and they're not quite feeling it. So it's a good thing they have a slightly longer qualifying, because then they have an extra lap, maybe 2, depending on it. So we need to see exactly how that one is going to work out, of course. But for now, for Estoril, we're going to see the drivers, and this is the big train that we were talking about. I'm sure when the camera swaps, we'll see that there's going to be a huge chunk of drivers, and if you're in the middle of that pack, getting a gap is going to be so crucial.
Oh, this camera operator is sick. He can track them even through the ground. What a guy. So good. But no, you're absolutely right. You can see the big train all the way behind. It's very tricky to find yourself a nice bit of clean air, but sometimes that clean air is extremely important. We're currently having a bit of a look at Rene himself, and he's going to be starting a lap around here, Cam, with absolutely no one ahead. So we get to see a lap of Estoril in all of its glory. Obviously, we had Luca Kita take us for a little guide around the circuit, but now we can have Rene show us the ropes in this championship, leading the 31-car train in qualifying into the braking zone for the first corner, throwing it into the right-hander. There's a little wide gate next to him.
Yeah, what a rookie. I mean, in his first race as well, it's just a miracle that he's actually getting around the lap. In towards this second corner, though, is actually, well, this whole section is uphill, absolutely all monstering that curb, all over the curb. So you can really sort of push into these corners, but this is quite an important one. It's a little bit more wide, but you do have to sort of V the corner to get the run onto this back straight. I do call it back straight. They put a full-on corner in the middle of it, but it's the back straight, and then we work our way down in towards the interior parabolic. He's actually getting overtaken here, so he's actually thinking, I want to get some sighting laps from Stanger, who looks to still be on his lap, pushing his way through. And you see how wide they go, because you really want to get on the power early there.
Especially if you're in something like the Audi. I mean, you might even see the BMWs roll out a little bit further wide, going through the interior parabolic. And those front wheel guys kind of think they want to try and keep a little tighter, and the understeer might push them out there. But for some of the other cars, might be a bit of an intentional approach to that corner. Into the chicane then, through the left, through the right, bit of oversteer on the exit of the chicane, which saw many overtake attempts. Now into the left-hander as they work their way around the Parabolica Ayrton Senna as they go through that long right-hander, the final corner of the circuit.
And let's see what the lap time is, at least for now. I'm sure there's a lot of drivers who will come and go faster. It seems they got faster and faster as the session went on, but it is going to be a 42.6 to start the lap. Bit off already goes a couple of tenths quicker as the lap times just start flooding in. We got a whole train of cars down this front stretch. Look at that. Imagine trying to set a purple lap time in this absolute mid-pack as Rene Buttler is back out there on the track, trying to be a little bit higher than where he was. Farkash goes to the front by 0.6 of a second though.
And his pole time in the previous session was a 41.8, so he's already a tenth faster than that. That's a very impressive lap time then from our Race 1 winner, from our 3-time winner this season, as we'll take a look on board with Rene Buttler, see if he can hit more apex in the first sector than Rene did. Might give him a good challenge, actually. I said that because Rene, I think, missed. I mean, it was a questionable 2.
Well, it definitely wasn't in turn 3 at Lamy. I mean, he was all over that curb as he wanted to get the car. So maybe it was intentional. You never know. But small mistakes are very important in the qualifying, because even just being a few centimetres here and there off the line will cost you. And when it is so close, You never know if that is going to cost you something here. Don't be so worried about going wide there, because it's really about that second apex. Get it hooked up once more. It was sliding that rear tyre. And down in towards Arella, this is a really sort of later apex corner. It's actually very open when you look at it on the track map, but then the kink in towards the chicane, and this is a very tricky braking zone because it actually widens up a lot and then tightens massively at the two apexes. But he's doing a pretty decent job so far, and of course we all know, the in real life experience that he's got, and he's using that as he works his way through the final corner.
Yeah, indeed. I almost got offered a lap with Rene around the Nordschleife.
Almost.
Well, he offered, and then I said no, it's fine. I'll go around with Nico Hillebrand, which was still an entertaining lap. It wasn't quite the same as I think Devin might have been in the car with Rene at that point. But that was a few years ago. Let's go with that. We've all gotten old now.
You are old.
I'm in my 4th decade of life. Thank you.
As I'm going to see Ribeiro get to the front. Can he put himself on pole at his home track? No, he's going to be just shy. Still in 2nd place, but he's got a lap to go.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, they work their way back onto the turn 1, back onto the start-finish straight, back onto another lap. But with the time left to go, Cam, this is the last laps they'll be able to deal with. So they work into that first sector. Can Ribeiro potentially find any time? Rene Buttler's session has come to a close. 30th position is all it will be. So unfortunate that there will be no further improvement. Vinieri, by the way, I don't believe... Sorry, I was going to say Vinieri, never mind. It was Jonas Riedel and Luciano Wittfurt, 2 cars yet to set a lap time. Those are 2 that I was looking at. Wittfurt's quite an interesting one, because he's one that we would expect to be top 15.
Yeah, in the ranked championships over the years, he's always been up towards the front, so definitely a bit of a weird one. He struggled last time a couple of weeks ago as well, so maybe something going on there, or just not putting in quite as much practice as we see in there, hanging the rear end out a little bit through the final corner. 1 minute to go, and look how close it is. 1.5 seconds for the top 20 cars. Wiesenmuller jumps up into 10th place. Is Lin going to be able to make any sort of moves on his final lap as well? Up into 9th, jumps into the top 10.
Yeah, the only one repping the E36 round here, Wan Shi Lin, 10th position. Steph Kramers moves up to 13th position. We see Jean Petre across the line, all 4 wheels on the road into 16th position. Here comes Florian Haase, the only driver improving in the top 10 at present. It's going to be another front row from Florian Haase across the line. 3rd position is all it'll be. Ribeiro, though, does go onto the front row, is picking up that slipstream. So Bence Farkas will take another pole position. Enzo Filippo, though, keep an eye out on him. Very good on the race start back in race number 1. What can Oliver Bent do?
And wasn't Filippo 3rd last time as well, jumping through the middle? So this is very good indeed. And I think it's basically the same cars in the front 4 as well. So that is a bit of a role reversal. They've had to do the laps again, almost identical, 0.7 to a 0.8 for the pole time. Ribeiro just missing out, but look how close it is once again.
Indeed, look at all those Audis 1st through 9th, but look at Wan Shi Lin saying, actually, do you know what? I've seen a few Alphas up here in the hands of Moritz Lern and Rob Wiesman and stuff. I want to have a go in my BMW. So superb effort to have got that lap onto the board. But this is going to be, once again, chaos down towards T1, and I'm expecting a good start from Filippo.
Yes, he seems to have it absolutely hooked up. So if he can send it through the middle once again, that'll be very nice to see. But he didn't manage to keep it. And then when he eventually finished in 2nd place, or ended up in 2nd place, he couldn't get back through for the lead either. So Farkas, can he defend for 15 minutes once more? Is he going to need to? Or if Filippo gets ahead, is he even able to make the overtake? We'll have to certainly find out as the drivers get to the grid.
Certainly so. About 20 seconds before the race begins, and again it'll be 15 minutes of racing. So let us know in chat, who do you think is going to win the race? Do you think Bence Farkas is going to do it again? Do you think Ribeiro has got the speed? Do you think Filippo is going to be leading down to the 1st corner and maybe leading out of the final? Let's wait and see. 15 minutes onto the clock, race ready to begin, with once again Farkas on that pole position, and we begin that run down into the 1st corner. Not quite as hot off the line this time from Enzo Filippo, but he is going to take over 2nd position from Ribeiro. He gets to the outside of Bence Farkas, who's already defended down in the 1st corner. Enzo Filippo will look to the outside, will try and set it in. Out deep goes Benz Farkash, squeezing out the Frenchman, and now opening the door potentially for Ribera behind. Couple of drivers well off the road though in the background.
Yeah, it's a bit frantic as we're going to see Filippo not get the start that he would have wanted this time. So that is going to allow the opportunity for Ribeiro to keep that second place. He's been pushed out wide as well, has Filippo. So it's going to open the door to now Haase to try and come around the outside. Very difficult to do so at this VIP corner, but he has to back into that fourth position. Ribeiro is looking strong, and I think he wants this win that he missed out on last time.
Yeah, indeed, looking for those big moves. Let's see what we're going to get down into the interior parabolica. Looking to the outside, we've got a couple of drivers going for it. Andika Rama-Molana, one of those. Lloyd Bidolph, who we're focused on here, desperately trying to hang on from Andika Rama-Molana in the yellow and chromed Audi to look to the outside there. Couldn't quite make the move, drops back into line. Big look to the inside there for Bidolph on Christian Orban. I think that was more to defend from Rama-Molana.
Absolutely big sends in towards the chicane this time around. Yes, huge send up the inside there, trying to make some moves, trying to see actually exactly who there was. Might be a bit off there as he continues on with that battle. Chari, actually it is trying to make the move up the inside. It's going to be just about sticks it through with Dixon on the outside. The number 8 machine getting ahead of the 7. That has opened up the door actually quite a bit up ahead of them. So now got Morris Lerner, who's going to be in the back of them as he's not going to be getting the slipstream down this straight.
Look at the sea of non-Audis behind the train of Audis. You've got Moritz Lerner here, looking to the inside, trying to find a way through as he squeezes his way to the barrier, back up towards the front because the battle for the race lead is going on. Farkash defended. Ribeiro was trying to go for maybe the up and under. Enzo Filippo, Florian Haase just trying to keep up with the train this time. Dropped back in 4th position in the previous race. This time trying to just keep up, maybe give himself a chance late on in the race. There was side-by-side behind between Bo Dixon and Wan Chi Lin because Moritz Lerner's got through into 9th.
Yeah, there's a big send, I think, in towards turn 1. Dixon and Lin still a bit of side-by-side as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Oh, we're a little bit wide there in the background as well, as we're going to see Ribeiro going for the race lead, left or right. He's going to go to the right-hand side. Actually, no, he's not. No, he is up the inside. I was thinking about it, left and right. In the end, he backs out, just trying to make Farkash sort of think and defend, but Farkash is looking calm at the front.
Yeah, a lot of clear questions going on in Ribeiro's mind there as to whether he was going to send it or not, and eventually decided, not yet. 12 minutes still left to go in the race. There's plenty of time. Steph Kramers gets past Wan Chi Lin. Maybe the in-race speed not quite high enough in that E36. However, it is going to keep Kramers at bay. Rob Biesemüller now into the mix, going to the outside of Kramers as they work their way into the chicane. Goes all the way around the outside of the first bit, inside now of the second. Muscles his way through. Rob Biesemüller with the move. That was getting a bit elbows out. Jean Petre able to get through that chicane without being rolled so far during this race.
That's certainly a very nice, very good thing if you get through that chicane indeed on all 4 wheels, as Biesemüller there is going to be making a move. Lin has lost a lot of time to the car's head. Biesemüller to the wall, manages to keep out as Lin just opens up the door, but he loses a lot of momentum, probably have to back out that one. So Kramers comes through the middle and goes to the outside himself. So Biesemüller thought he was making a move, but now he actually might do 3 wide up the inside. That is way too late, but Super Tourer elbows out action and he gets the move done.
I mean, look, he didn't miss the corner. That's one of the actual really important things to note with all of these cars that we've got out here on the circuit in the RaceRoom Super Touring Championship. More so than what you get in anything like GT3s and such, where they're all different cars and they all have their different approaches, but their brakes are all basically the same. Sure, some will be braking at 150, some will be braking at 140 for a corner, meters away from it, right? In these, wildly different across the cars. Very, very different in their braking approach to how they move in the braking zone, things like that. And so that's where maybe there was some slight more confidence there for Rob Biesemüller to brake later. Although I will say, in my 12 years of racing against Rob Biesemüller in sim racing, don't get me wrong, we've not done it for a while, but fair enough, he has always been very good on the brakes, very brave, very late, very confident. He didn't miss the corner.
I mean, there were 2 cars holding them up on the outside. It was very difficult for him to miss the corner at that point, but that was a huge send down the inside. I do think it was Lin, wasn't it, being a little bit a little bit easy on the brakes, but we'll have to go back to that. What is going? We're 5 wide. 5 Alfa Romeos wide on the X of the chicane. Are they going to make it through in towards the S's? Just about. Contact being made. Oh, we're going to see another car flip off. Oh, we're not going to see the end of that one, but definitely that car was going up and over. And in the end, I think it's Stremmer is now down into 29th place, who was the one involved.
Yeah, I mean, 3 wide through there is not going to work. 4 wide really isn't going to work. 5?
Why not?
Probably not. Probably not. I like the ambition though. The ambition and the imagination of the grid. Lichtenhagen and Sebastian Rate going side by side in those 2 Alfa Romeos. Rene Buttler getting right involved here with Ardei getting squeezed in as well. Kubalaya trying to sneak one through also. Getting a bit chaotic here further down the order. As much as the front is quite clean, down here it's getting a little bit messy. Big look to the inside from Ardei in that 850.
Yeah, this is crazy stuff. They're literally pushing each other around the first 3-4 corners of this lap. Buttler just about squeezes his way through there in the Audi ahead of the Volvo as the sort of takes a defensive line already before they even go through the kink, goes hard left. As up in the foreground as well, we're seeing some further big battles, and this is exactly what we want to see as we see the Lichtenhagen trying to hold on, just about does in that battle. Sebastian Ray's rear view mirror that we're looking at, but no moves into the next corner.
No, indeed. Like I say, we're getting some parts of this grid where it's very muscly, and then some parts of the grid where it's very not. And it's interesting to see that. Got the E36 here, trying to keep those 1560 Alphas at bay, trying to work his way past them. Of course, it's Wanshi Lim, Pat Daniel behind, Schulze in the Audi, working his way forward. Hujek, Jean Petra. And we get to another couple of Audis in Wolk and Rydell. Rydell, of course, having the issue in lap 1 in the previous race. Defensive line coming in as they go back out onto the start-finish straight from Rob Wiesemuller, trying to break the slipstream of those behind.
Certainly is, but look at that big. Was that a... I was trying to work out if that was defence or attack there from Lynn. He was miles ahead and behind, but felt the need to go defensive in towards turn number 1 as we're seeing Kramer's here behind Wiesemuller. They've dropped off 3 seconds to Morris Lerner, the rookie, who's sitting in P10 and holding on very nicely to that position. But he's, of course, trying to get past Bo Dixon, who's the car ahead, and they're just losing touch of the top guys for now.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, look, that's just sometimes how it unfolds when you've been battling so hard. You do lose the touch of the groups ahead. But, you know, still a fair shout left to go in this race, and I'm very curious to how things will unfold at a very different location in about 7 minutes more of racing. There is still plenty of time in this one, though. Ribeiro is the one leading from Farkas, from Filippo, from Haase as well. This is back to the front. Ribeiro's doing a great job to keep Farkas at bay.
He certainly is, and what a story this would be. What a story this would be for the Portuguese driver, who's been getting faster and faster as the championship goes on, and he's obviously really motivated today. That extra bit of speed, 3rd place in the previous one, and now he's taking no nonsense at the front of this, going hard defensive line to the inside. He doesn't want Farkas getting anywhere near him as we get towards the end of this straight, but it's a top 4 breakaway this time. There was only 3 in the previous race as Haase dropped down as Orban and Malana continue their battle in P5 from what we saw in the first race.
Enzo Filippo sets the fastest lap of the race then on the previous one, using the slipstream of Farkas, losing the slipstream of Ribeiro. We can stare into the eyes of the Frenchman as he's trying to close down the race leader, but also deal with Florian Haase directly behind. One time I defended from Florian Haase around the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, for a few laps. After the race, he came up to me in the campsite and said, "Are you Lewis?" And I was like,
"Yeah, that's me."
Yeah. That's me. He was like, "Good defender." I was like, "Whew!" I thought we were going to have a proper fight, but no, he's all good. I do look good with Florian. I've not seen him too much in the world of sim racing recently, so it's good to see.
Well, absolutely, people do sort of come and go, get busy. It's there's so many races now, as that is way wide there from Orban, as we've seen this battle continue on down in towards the next corner. Malana trying to make the move on the outside line. Actually, he was trying to sort of just come in line, but slightly misjudged that. He gets his front bumper almost up the inside, but Orban needs to be careful making some moves like that. Otherwise, if you go wide, these drivers will pounce. And of course, he's got Bidolf there as well, who is just ready, sitting and waiting for a 10-pin bowling moment ahead of him.
Look, I'm sure some of that is potentially not too far away. I'm sure we're going to get some dramas in this group. We're getting some dramas behind, and for the overtake GG team, there has been a bit of problem here. Wolk being dropped right the way down the order, now leaving himself side by side with his teammate Rene Buttler.
That's what we love to see. Contact as well. Absolutely amazing scenes here through the final corner. Rene Buttler, who of course DNF'd in that first race, is looking a bit stronger in this second one, up into 24th position. Can he make it 23rd as he gets the run down this front straightaway? There are moves up ahead as well. Which, oh, what is going on here? Massive smoke in towards the first corner. We'll work that one out when we get to it. Rene Buttler to the outside line, but not quite enough. Yeah, breaking a bit too early there to get past his teammate. Yeah,
indeed. Some big attempts coming in. I think some of that smoke may well have been some sizable lockups. So we're getting some smoke on the exits as certain cars are really pushing through the corners. But yeah, I think smoke's just part of it. We've just got to accept it.
Certainly is. Absolutely. A bit of lockups, a bit of wheel spin as well from the inside tyres. That is going to be a move for Lynn up the inside. Peter Daniel going wide. And the BMW should have that move. Does he have the run though? Does he have the momentum? Enough top speed down in towards Arella? No, not quite. So it's going to be a move up the inside still from Peter Daniel. He hasn't got his front bumper ahead, but he's still got it alongside just enough that Lynn has to give him space. But Lynn a lot deeper there on the brakes into the chicane, and he's got that one stuck.
Great angle there to see the attack angle going into that chicane. It's actually just really difficult braking zone going into it. Especially if you want to make a move, because you go into it through a fast right-hander and deep onto the brakes can be very difficult. However, this has been made maybe a little bit of a mess from those behind. Peter Daniel and Gregor Hudjek going to go side by side a little bit through that final corner. And maybe this will open up the door for Jean Petre to maybe make a move. Chari and Dixon, I think, have had problems down at the first corner, and Lloyd Biddulph's come through for 7th position. But let's see how this one unfolds.
Yeah, we could be 3 wide here in towards the first corner. But no, Jean Petre decides to back out of that one. Hudjek gets past Peter Daniel in towards turn number 1 there. So Daniel thought he'd be making a place on Lynn, has now dropped down. And they actually, with that battle, has lost a whole second to the BMW up ahead as well. So these battles really, they ebb and flow, don't they, as the race goes on. There's already only 2 minutes left. This race has flown by with the amount of action that we've seen. And I think there's still a few moves to be decided. This is one of them.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see if we're going to see a switch between Steph Kramers and Rob Wiesemann at 11th position. Not inside the top 10. They're 4 and a bit seconds behind that top 10 position, which is being held by Moritz Lerner, the lone non-Audi in that top 10. You can see looming in the background behind those Audis, Biddulph, Dixon, Chari as well. Back up to the race lead though for one final lap. Ribeiro, Farkas, Filippo, Haase. The 4 that will do battle around here at Estoril.
I tell you what, Ribeiro's got a little bit of a breakaway here. He's got a couple of tenths advantage, 4 tenths to be exact, as we work our way onto this front straight for the final time of asking in towards the first corner. One of the best overtaking opportunities. He's going left, he's going right, he's going left and then right again, snaking his way down the front straight, back towards the outside. Any moves being made, maybe not for the lead, but for 3rd place around the outside. The yellow machine of Haase is trying to do that. It really pinches you on the exit here, but he's kept it side by side.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job at present. Of course, Ribeiro victorious back in the previous round of the Hockenheim Ring in the 25-minute race. So looking to take a second victory of the season. It's been Ribeiro or Farkas so far in the 4 races that we've had thus far. Most of those leaning the way of the Hungarian. Right now, though, can Ribeiro chuck another one onto the mix and take another victory? At the moment, it's seeming fairly likely, but there's still some very good overtaking opportunities left to come, and he's got a very feisty driver behind.
Are we going to see any big sends here? Neither. No, Farkas nor Filippo making a send there. So Haase with the move around the outside of turn 2, not always the one that you see, but he's made it for him to get up onto the podium, and just a couple more opportunities left, and the gap to the front is getting smaller. It was 4 tenths at the beginning of the lap, is now down to 2, and we're almost getting the red car. Farkas pushing him for the lead.
This is getting very tight. Farkas right onto the rear end of Ribeiro. Enzo Filippo right onto the rear end of Florin Arce, who's in podium position. There comes a look to the inside, side by side for third position. It'll be the outside dose through the left hand before they head to the final turn. Ribeiro is in position. They head their way through that final turn of the Etzena Parabolica. Out onto the start-finish straight they're going to go. Ribeiro's in position. He's got a 3/10 lead. Drag race to the line, but it's not going to work. Ribeiro, for the second time in the RaceRoom Super Touring Championship, is going to be victorious as he crosses the line to take victory on home soil at Estoril. Behind that, a fantastic fight. We'll see Farkas, Arce, Filippo behind. 4 for the race lead, 4 o'clock across the line with just over a second separating them. But what a cracking battle here.
As Wiesenmüller holds on for Kramers as well, and the battle's further down. We saw this going up and down and all over the place, and in the end Lichtenhagen actually lost some time in that battle. He was once with up ahead. We'll finish there, and there's Wolk. As he held on from Rene Buttler, no, Buttler did get ahead in the end and will beat win, I should say, that overtake battle.
I mean, look, he beat his teammate. That's the important bit. Ribeiro will take victory here in Estoril. Then Farkas, Arce, Filippo, the four-way fight for the race victory. Roman Milana, Orban, Bidoff, Dixon, Chari, and Lerner the top 10. So Lerner getting up there once more. Rob Wiesenmüller in 11th position with Steph Kramers. Wan Shi Lin. The BMW started inside the top 10, but dropped back down to 13th position with Schulze, Hudjek, Daniel John Petra, Lichtenhagen, Rydell, and Vladisavljevic finishing in 20th position. Solid drive there from Vladisavljevic. And of course, those final positions with Reiko Belayat, Rene Buttler, Wolk, Vitfert, Ardey, Streamer, who nearly was flipped to the race. Volta, of course, with Nats, Bent, and then the final car, the retirement, I think it's Jan Stanger. The retirement from the race, the lone retirement of the 31 car field. Great couple of races though here at Estoril. Now it's time to change things up and look at something very different, they can.
Absolutely. Donington Park next, slightly longer track, or longer race, I should say. And of course, a bit of a different choice in cars potentially for some of these drivers. It's, I think, going to be quite a bit different in terms of to how Estoril played out. And I do like this, the fact that we have these two different circuits. So we've seen Farkas, Ribeiro, and even Haas. Of course, he had a bit of a difficult race one, but he definitely had the speed. Filippo, they've been the dominant 4 drivers in the opening 2 races. And then, ironically, Milano and Orban find themselves in the same place again in that sort of second battle. Are we going to see those same drivers up towards the front? I think not. And potentially some drivers choosing some different chassis, although the Audi is looking ominous, if not just because of the speed, also because of that 4-wheel drive.
There was a suggestion that maybe the BMW might also be the port of call for the next round, for the next race as well. So there is also one to deal with potentially. Look, it's going to be very interesting. That's the important bit, and I'm excited to see how things are going to unfold at Donington. Which again, very, very different circuit. We'll talk about that in a moment because I want some opinions from you. I mean, I don't know how much your super touring knowledge is, right?
Not as much as you.
Okay, I was going to say, what cars would you suggest? I want to see as well. Whether we do or not, I don't know. I don't hold the rights or nothing, but I'd love to see some more cars added to these super tours because I think they're fantastic. There's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of other cars to choose from. Obviously, I think the primary one that we need, I need a Laguna, mate.
The Renault Laguna, yes. I mean, firstly, what just an absolute weapon of a car in general, but also, I just love the shape of it. I remember this car back in the day. I just absolutely love the shape of it. I think the fact of it being French as well, it has that little bit of like character to it that maybe some of the other cars lose.
Je ne sais quoi. I look. My mum used to own one. I have a very strong memory of a Renault Laguna, of going down the motorway and my mum being like, "Goodness me, why is that?" She didn't say that. She said worse. Why is everyone going so slow? It's because she was doing 130. That's it. Good girl. That car is mighty fast. And I said, love that. Obviously, this is more for the Ford fans out there, the Mondeo. That blue and yellow Mondeo. The Primera. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
the
I'm just
405
now. Yeah.
Come on. There's loads of cars to go through.
I'm sure there's. Oh, I've just found a picture of the Laguna. That is a beautiful Laguna.
Laguna's a good car.
It's a beautiful looking car. I mean, it all comes down to licensing and that sort of stuff in terms of getting it in the game. What there's something about this Laguna chassis. I just really liked it. And by the way, you know what you're saying about your mum. I mean, that was AI generated, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I know
Yeah.
that is. She doesn't even drive. No, obviously, the reason why I bring this up is because I want to hear what cars people want. I want to see what your suggestions are. There's obviously plenty of cars from this Super Touring era. What would everyone else? What would their dream car be from this? And what car would you select of the ones that we have? Are you a Volvo kind of person? Are you going to take the Opel? Are you like Cam and maybe slightly boring, but understandably so because the E36 is pretty cool?
It's a good looking car.
Yeah, it is.
Rear wheel drive. It's rear wheel drive. And also BMW, it just has that like, I don't know, it just has that driving feel when you get into it. Although obviously all of the versions of these cars that we race, obviously a full race setup compared to the road cars. But yeah, I'm a bit of an E36 lover. Yeah, this Primera, the Nissan, that is a very good looking car as well, to be honest. I just love that sedan look. Obviously, we have a lot of like the hatchbacks and the fastbacks nowadays, but yeah, the sedan is definitely a good model. And it was just a bit of a wild and a bit of a crazy era in this part of racing. It's pretty cool that we've reignited it into a bit of a championship here.
E36 lover, that's your hidden nickname online, isn't it? That's the one that you use whilst patrolling the dark side of Twitter. No, that's fine. Let's talk about Donington Park before we dig some very horrifitic graves here on this broadcast. Talk about Donington Park. Very different style of racetrack to Estoril. Very fast and flowing. You go through Redgate, that first corner, dropping down the hill through the Craner curves. You've got the old hairpin to take it back up the hill. McLean's Coppice, and that run down the back stretch. But then, of course, we're in British touring cars and stuff where they go right, left, and then back out onto the Wheatcroft Straight. In this, because we're running the Grand Prix loop, we're going left and then right and then down towards the Melbourne hairpin. Very different style of circuit.
Absolutely. To be honest, I really like Donington. I do. It's got a lot of flow to it. It's high speed, but then with the GP loop at the end, you've got quite a good overtaking opportunity down towards the Melbourne hairpin. And then, to be honest, the final corner is one of the most frustrating but fun corners in some way because it's over the crest in towards the final brake zone. It's completely off camber. It's a very difficult corner, but it is open for a last lap send, and that is what we like, to be honest. So, yeah, great track. Definitely looking forward to see how the flow works with these cars because it's so medium speed. A lot of the corners, they're really big and wide. You have to sort of flow the car through. It's not stop, start like Estoril. It's quite a bit of a different driving style. You have to have a lot of feel on that rear end. So maybe that's where the rear wheel drive or maybe in the four wheel drive of the Audis is going to be very good.
Well, let's take a look around the Donington Park circuit once again because us describing it doesn't quite do it justice.
Welcome here for the track guide of the second track for the second run of the RSTC. We are approaching here turn 1. We are braking shortly after that red part of the track, going into that turn 1, clipping the curb here on the inside, go early on to get the curb here on the exit. Now it's important to choose always the closest line here on the right side, go early back to the left side because of less aerodynamic, go a little bit off throttle, start braking, move outside to the curb. And now we want the inside curb here and early on throttle to get the speed and the momentum up the hill here, which is of course in these cars really, really important. Coming now here close to the curb again, you see the board on the right side, we start braking, shift down into third gear, over that curb here, take care that the car not like goes onto two wheels because of that high moment of the curb. Here you can't see the corner, we go early on throttle, inside curb, stay on the inside of the track and go early on throttle to take all the momentum out of that corner. Approaching now a really, really interesting part, the fast chicane up the hill here. We brake between the second last spots, clip a little bit off the curb on the inside, not so much. And now coming to the second last hairpin, braking shortly after that one board, taking the deep angle here on the curb again on the exit. Take care that the car doesn't oversteer too much, moving back to the right side here. Going into the last corner, braking shortly after that curb. Again, same situation here. On inside curb is our goal, and on the exit, to not cut the grass, but take the momentum to here, finish the lap around Donington and start, of course, a good new lap. And yeah, this was the track guide. I wish you good luck for the race, and see you for next round.
Super stuff, and thank you to Luca Kita for a guide around the circuit. Cam will be using racingcircuits.info to try and get his corner names right. I was like staring at what you were looking at. I got it all up here, mate. Of course, there is a new BOP for this circuit, so it's slightly different than the previous. However, I can tell you there's still a lot of Audis out there. 22 kilos for the Audi, 14 kilos for the BMW, 9 for the Volvo S40, none for the Opel Vectra, 24 for the Alfa Romeo, take that, 5 for the Honda Accord, and 3 for the 850 ST. That needs to be a few more, because I agree with someone in the chat who said we need the 850 estate. We were talking about this last round. That would be significantly heavier than 3 extra kilos, so that's one that I want to see. Either way, qualifying's underway. The first 4 minutes have been complete, and those first lap times, Cam, are ready to come in. So once we jump to the circuit, we can see exactly how things are unfolding in what is a particularly short circuit for 31 cars to navigate around. You can see working their way down into Redgate at T1.
Absolutely, of course, it's quite a long track actually when you have the GP loop for these cars. But still, as we saw on the onboard there with Luca, it's still a very fast, very fast place. Still, plenty of places where you're well over 100 miles an hour, which is absolutely great to see. But let's see how the lap times come in and who is wanting to jump straight up to the top of the times. 5.5 minutes remaining. And it's certainly a difficult track to really link all of the corners together. You're going to see a lot of drivers running wide there at the exit of the old hairpin, for instance, but no stresses so far. At least, still waiting for the first couple laps to come in because the lap is so long for these guys.
My first time racing Super Tours was around this circuit. It was around Donington Park. Obviously, that was 2014. Oh my God, over 10 years ago. And I was going to talk about this driver here. The car that he was racing in on that day, Rob Wiesemer, was a Honda Accord. And here he is, 4th different car. He is trying all of them. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe this is because of speed, or maybe it's just because he wants to basically do all of the cars over the course of the championship for the sake of nostalgia. First lap times come in 35.2. For Bidolf, as we're actually already getting that massively faster. 34.5 for Haasa. And here's Wiesemer 1 second off in 5th.
Very curious as to what happens once he's depleted all 7 of the cars. What car will he take for the 25-minute feature race at Silverstone Classic in round 4 of the championship? Because by that point he would have used all 7 cars. So what car would he pick? What's the duplicate? If he is going to do all 7, that is. We'll have to wait and see. You can take a look on board around this circuit up to McLean's now. Coppice, super awkward right-hander. If there's one part about this circuit that I actually really hate, it's this corner.
Yeah, uphill, blind. You don't know how much you need to get on the power on the exit. You actually realise it's quite a fast corner, so you don't have to brake that much. There's a lot going on there. And definitely an easy one to get wrong as Wiesemer overshoots that chicane, and the Focus ES is just a little bit, so definitely going to be losing out on this time. As we've seen Wittmer, that's a bit better, up inside the top 10. He's taken the Audi, he's got the speed there in the Chrome machine, but he's still just over a second off, but of course improving on this lap.
Indeed, no one's in the super chrome Audi, it seems, this round, like what we had at the Hockenheimring modern layout. Luciano Wittmer trying to pick up a little bit of slipstream as well. I think that might be Jan Stanger directly ahead. Luciano Wittmer across the line. Any further improvement? Jan Stanger goes to 7th. Luciano Wittmer goes to 6th position then, with 3 minutes left to go on the clock. It's Farkas on top by 5 thousandths of a second.
Yes, that is just a little bit tight, isn't it? As we're basically seeing a role reversal. The only person who's not there actually is Ribeiro so far in terms of putting up those top lap times, but it's the same top 3 otherwise. Let's see what Ribeiro does out of the final corner a 34.2 he needs up towards the line. He is actually going to be pretty close, and he does.
Whoa.
He goes to the front by a 1/10 of a second.
What a final sector then from Tomás Ribeiro, the winner of the final race back in Hockenheimring. Of course, that 25-minute race, the feature. He's won one. Maybe he's winning a second one, as Klaus Schulze a little wide there as they go around the Montreal hairpin, not named after anything in Australia. It's because there's a little village called Montreal if you go in a straight line from that point on. And in fact, actually, if you go in a straight line past that point, there's part of the old circuit which actually exists.
Yes, it does, because it actually went, as you say, a bit further from where we now have that Melbourne hairpin, and actually then went off into the woods. It was quite actually interesting when I drove the old version of that on a different simulator a few years ago. I was absolutely bamboozled into where we were going, to the track
Really hilly
layout that we have.
Right, really drops down.
It's
Really
pretty ridiculous, actually, in terms of if you look at that and then how we ended up here. But we have quite a few purple lap times coming in. 1.5 minutes to go, and Florian Haase is one of those. Purple in the first sector. Ribeiro goes purple in the second, though.
Enzo Filippo, the fastest of those first sectors coming through. Florian Haase matching basically almost to the 1,000th with Ribeiro in the second sector. He's 5,000 of a second faster than Ribeiro, who bails from his lap time, remains on the 1:34.142 at the top of the session. Can Farkas, can Filippo, can Haase do anything about it? The fastest of the three thus far is Bent Farkas. He's come across that line in the second sector, about 1/10 and a bit faster than even Florian Haase, who cannot improve, does not improve. Enzo Filippo right behind Bent Farkas as well as they head into the final sector.
And this is crucial, even just for the starting position between the pair of them, because there's only 0.05 of a second. Final corner time. Out of it we come, and he goes right up to the edge of the curb. Can Filippo get it on the provisional pole, or even into second place? No, Farkas gets it, and Filippo, 0.5 separating the top three. Not enough. He improves, but stays there in third place in the end, and Ribeiro missing out after backing out of his final lap.
Proves how unbelievable Tomás Ribeiro's final sector was there, but Bent Farkas will sneak pole position away regardless. It's Farkas from Ribeiro, from Filippo, from Haase, from Dixon up there in 5th position. Great qualifying. Lloyd Biddulph as well, Luciano Wittfurt, Christian Orban, Jan Stanger and Wan Shi Lin. Very similar top 10 to the previous race, actually, despite the completely different circuit. Moritz Lerner, though, 16th position. Will he be able to get a third top 10 on the night? We'll have to wait and see. Rob Wiesmuller taking his 4th different car of the season, starting from 14th position. Great qualifying from Vladisavljevic in 13th.
Absolutely, 1.5 seconds covering the top 15. Again, same as the first race of the evening. 1.5 seconds cover the top 20 in the second. So still generally a very close field out there. And despite jumping to a different track and some drivers in different cars, they're still so close out there, which is really great to see. And to be honest, I can't wait to see how this Donington Park circuit is going to be offering us some great overtaking opportunities. A little bit lower down, of course, we're seeing the final few drivers of Wolk there in P13 and Stamar as well, not setting a lap time.
Indeed, also 2 other cars that didn't set a lap time, Rene Buttler and Andika Raman-Molana. Unfortunately, had a bit of a game crash, so hopefully we'll see Andika Raman-Molana on the grid. I'm not sure whether he will be able to if he's had the game crash. Maybe he'll be able to reload him. Not 100% sure if he can or not. But either way, 32nd position is where he is on the timesheets. And the opposite side of the table, it is Bent Farkas in 1st position. And it's impressive to see the strength and consistency, not just of Farkas, though, of Ribeiro as well. I think we need to give some extra plaudits that way. There's been 5 races this season, 3 of which have been won by Farkas, all of them shorter races. Ribeiro has won a shorter race and a longer race as well.
Yes, he certainly knows what he was doing, especially back at Hockenheim. Modern last time out, he just completely dominated as well out towards the front from start to finish. We all thought Farkas was going to do it once again for 3 races in a row, but not this time around. Let's see, obviously, how they are going to go when we get towards this modern Donington circuit. Completely different, though, in terms of the style of racing. Because you don't have all the stop-starts as well, it's very difficult to lunge on people. You have to really work your way up towards a move and maybe try a cheeky move into the likes that you were saying as Coppice, or maybe even down towards the Melbourne hairpin.
I mean, you say like modern Donington circuit. Donington's actually one of those interesting ones where, as much as we say about the classic circuit, that would have been back in the 30s when the track was relatively new. It was then closed and kind of like forgotten about for a very long period of time. And I think it was Tim Wheatcroft, I think it was in the 70s, then purchased the circuit and then basically turned it into the Donington that we actually know today. And relatively speaking, from even when these cars were racing it around to the 90s, it's relatively unchanged. There are certain changes. Obviously, gravel traps are different. The pit entry is obviously different. Obviously, you all know that if you watched the 1993 Grand Prix around here, which is obviously very famous. But realistically, the circuit's relatively unchanged. I think that's great because you can kind of change. Well, you can take a load of eras around here, and it's still that same circuit. The one thing, and I'm going to be very careful saying anything bad about it, because obviously it is an MSV circuit right now, and I admit I do work for them on the odd occasion. I really dislike that it's white and red. I love the white and light blue around here, but that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, you are a bit of a blue boy as well, in terms of the
yeah, but it was different, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Although in general, it is a great circuit. I mean, I was just actually there for World SBK a few weeks ago as well, and even for bikes. I mean, it's a great circuit, and absolutely love the just the opportunity that we have to go to this circuit quite a lot, because there's a lot of championships actually that go to it. When people think British circuits, they often think of Brands Hatch, etc. But Donington is up there, and I think it's going to give us a great race. So let's obviously see how they do as they get towards the grid. A longer race, 25 minutes, so a little bit more in terms of tyre wear to think about, a little bit more in terms of maybe being a bit more patient in terms of some of the moves. But you never know that, as the top three are so close as they have been at Estoril and now here at Donington.
Look, I'll give a shout out, like in the sense of, if you are coming to the UK to watch motorsports, where it is, bikes, WSBK, BSB, truck racing comes around here, whether you're watching British GT, obviously coming from British touring cars, anything like that. Donington's a cracking circuit to watch because it's so good for a spectator. That middle part of the circuit, you can get views which you don't normally get quite a lot of circuits, like you would even at Brands, places like that. Great track. And it's hopefully one that's going to be providing some great racing over the next 25 minutes, because they are all in position and they're all ready to go. Bence Farkash, left-hand side of your screen. Ribeiro, right-hand side of your screen. Then Filippo, then Haase, then Dixon, Lloyd Biddulph, and the rest of the field as we race our way down into the first corner. Great start from Ribeiro. Enzo Filippo not getting his typical race start as they head down into the first corner at Redgate. It's Bence Farkash, though, leading, trying to get alongside Ribeiro. We now head through Hollywood and then down through the iconic Craner curves. It goes right, and then a big flick over to the left-hand side as it drops completely down into the old hairpin. Incredible speed being taken down here, side by side for 6th and 7th. Out wide, and a big slide coming in from Christian Orban.
Yeah, a bit off there, just put his car in the right place. Side by side is not where you want to be through the old hairpin, but now he's under a threat. Look at the amount of cars lining up behind him as they're trying to work their way through McLean's, and this is actually a really difficult braking zone, because sort of kinks there as you get to the entry. No moves being made just yet, but actually Ribeiro might be losing a position as Filippo gets up the inside.
Must have been slow off McLean's, and that's opened up the door for Enzo Filippo to sneak his way down the inside into Coppice. They work their way down into the fog at ES, and of course Ribeiro's able to hang on the slightly wide line. The problem is, though, 3/4 of a second now up to our race leader, taking a lot of curve as they go through the left and right-hand chicane now down to the Melbourne hairpin. The defensive line coming in from Ribeiro, just trying to keep Enzo Filippo at bay.
Indeed, look at the train of cars, bumper to bumper we go. Not so many moves there. I think that actually is the Burnt is making the move in the midfield. Sebastian Ray has dropped down a few places. Kujek as well. So definitely a few moves being made there, but a lot of single file at that point of the track as drivers know a slightly longer race. But you do need to make overtaking opportunities in this first part of the race when everyone is so close to that. Towards the front, though, Farkash has a bit of a gap at the end of the first one.
Yeah, indeed. I think, like you say, Kujek was miles wide at the Melbourne hairpin, opening up the door for quite a lot of the field to come through. Also, there's been a bit of drama further down. Rene Buttler, I think, potentially got sent a little bit down into the Melbourne hairpin. Either way, through the old hairpin they go. I think it's one of those things of the old hairpin. It's called the old hairpin. When was it a hairpin? And I have been through the Donington Museum, and I can tell you, Cam, at no point in the history of the circuit did it have a hairpin.
Yes, it's certainly a very fast flick. Although actually, I'll just get to a second because Sebastian Ray is trying to be making some moves here up the inside of McLean's getting a push through as well. As that's Kramer's is going to be losing a position there in the Audi. Up the inside though, Peter Daniel is trying to come through in the grey Vectra as we work our way out onto the Starkey straight. He's pushed his way through as well, so that's 2 places. Unfortunately for Kramer's, squeezed back past.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously fighting his way through there. Peter Daniel taking the Vector out and taking the Vector straight across the inside line as they go through the foggy air. It's opened up the door for the up and under coming in from Steph Kramers and maybe even Hujek as well onto the brakes into the Melbourne hairpin. They're going to go, and I think he might be able to keep that Alfa Romeo directly behind of Hujek, but he does lose a spot there to Steph Kramers. Still trying to come back, is Daniel, though.
Yeah, I just realised that's a pretty crazy livery there from Kramers as well. Yeah, Lynn has gone around. He's actually just really slow down next to the final corner. Dropping way down is the Chinese driver. So many places lost there, unfortunately. And he's going to have to sort of scoot back in line. Kramers is not done yet with this battle, though, because Peter Daniel, as he's elbowing him out of the way on the exit of Redgate down through Hollywood, we're now going to be getting another driver. This is Kuciak getting involved after losing a few places on the previous lap. He gets back up, so Kramers losing another place. It's 3 now in the last lap.
Yuan Shilin may be proving my hypothesis as to why, of all of the cars on this grid, the one I would not take around this circuit right now would be the E36. Any guesses as to why, Cameron, Roger?
Because you don't like BMW.
It's nothing to do with not liking a BMW. It's nothing to do with not liking a rear-wheel drive. It's all to do with when you're in the middle of that pack, when you're in the middle of the racing, in a BMW, one little tap and you're sent round. There's nothing you can really do about it. In a front-wheel drive or in an all-wheel drive, you slam that throttle down and suddenly you're pointing back in the right direction.
Yeah, that is very true. Just the physics, what Lewis is talking about there. Oh, actually, we'll get to in a second because that's way too deep there in towards the braking zone. As, oh, look at them. Absolutely. This is exactly what you're talking about. You get to the exit of the corner in the front wheel or four-wheel drives and you just slam the throttle and the front axle pulls the car back in line. Whereas with the BMW, obviously you can't do that. It just spins the car around. It's sort of the opposite effect. So, yeah, that is true. Being front-wheel drive in this sort of style of racing can be very helpful.
I'm a touring car specialist, don't worry about it. I know about slamming the throttle down and hoping for the best. Schultz has had a bit of a problem, by the way, a bit further down, as did Strumair as well. I believe that was a little bit going through the fog, yes, maybe down into the Melbourne hairpin. As we'll see the defensive line coming in from Schultz. Vinieri was looking to the outside. Wan Shilin now trying to close back up into this. Down to the Craner curves they're going to go. The Alfa Romeo looks alongside. They go through the opening part through Hollywood now into the Craner curves. Bit of contact as well as Schultz is trying to muscle that Alfa Romeo to remain behind. But Vinieri, well, he is absolutely sticking to it. And now comes Wan Shilin.
Yeah, what battles there up towards McLean's. There's a little left-handed kink here. Any changes in their moves it's actually going to be to the outside in the back. I think that's Wolk trying to get involved, but Lynn there doing a good job. Doesn't get the run though, actually. Schultz gets and Wolk trying to make it 3 wide. No, that's back out to that one as he still tries to keep involved. Lynn is losing another position as we work our way through Coppice. This isn't working out. I thought he was going to be making 2 places. He might lose both of them again.
Shout out to Wan Shilin, by the way. H pattern, go on, lads. Love H pattern. Super satisfying. And to be fair, it's one of those ones of like you sit there and be like, oh, well, maybe it's slower using an H pattern rather than a flag panel. It's not. If you're doing it right, it's not slower. Not in these cars. Obviously, if you're doing that in a GT3, then yes, it will be slower. But certainly with how these are simulated here on RaceRoom, it is not slower realistically using the H pattern. So it's also more satisfying. There is nothing like popping it from 4th, downshifting straight into 3rd gear, and then flicking it into the corner. Did that in one of your BMWs once?
Oh, yeah, thank you when you were born. Cheers. Just after getting your license as well, so you probably had no idea what you did. But yeah, certainly, if the gearbox is simulated correctly, there should still be a sort of delay in the shift. So it's not going to be like these new gearboxes where you go, pap, 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 you know, and it does it very quickly. So yeah, there should be no advantage or disadvantage. It's more just about the immersion and enjoying being out in these older cars, and having a H-pattern is certainly something you don't see every day. Well, not even that. You don't see it at all anymore, let alone on the road, or even in race cars. It's very difficult indeed to see that nowadays, as we've seen Chari on the back of Wittwer having a much better race today.
Yeah, indeed. There are very few. I'm trying to think of race cars that actually have a H-pattern these days. Outside of classics and club racing, there is none. None that I can think of anyway. Everything's Vanguard. I remember when they removed even the stick sequential from supercars, and they removed it from Clio Cup. I was outraged. What are you doing? At least it's stick sequential. Come on, boys. Either way, behind all that, we've got the fight for 9th position. Luciano Wittwer trying to keep Patrick Chari at bay for that 9th position. Got the inside line coming down to the Goddards, the up and under trying to come in then from that Rothmans sponsored Audi. Couldn't quite get the up and under though.
No, certainly could not, and this is a nice picture-in-picture. Seeing the hand movements there simulated inside the game, just showing you how difficult it was at this era of racing. There's a lot more to control than we do nowadays, and he gets the run. Actually does Chari down through the crane of curves. He's going to have the outside line. That'll be the inside to the old hairpin. Very brave it's going to have to be as he goes deep on the brakes up the inside line. He's got it done. Bit of contact, slides his way through as Wittwer has to relinquish that position. But as he comes back up the hill, is he going to return the favour?
Beautiful move from Chari. They go through the Schwantz curve, through that left-hander onto the brakes, into the right. And of course, for Chari there, having that's one of those moves that raises your heart rate. Trying to get it done at the old hairpin, having it move down there like that. Absolutely fantastic overtake there. Problem is that gap up to this battle here for 7th and 8th position seems to be fairly large. By the way, whilst all this is going on, Ribeiro's taken over the race lead from Ben Farkash, so I don't know when he's quite made that move, but Ribeiro is leading once again. It is a tight battle though between the top four, the same top four that was doing battle, of course, back in Estoril. Ribeiro, Farkash, Haase and Filippo.
Ribeiro's second fast tonight, isn't he? Because it's not even like he's just holding on. He's 4 or 5 tenths ahead. So this is looking good. But in behind, as we've seen all right long, Filippo and Haase getting involved with Farkash, but funnily enough, in pretty much the same order every time. Filippo looks very calm, to be honest. He has done all night. He isn't very stressed about the situation. Knows he's got the speed, just needs to find a way through.
Interestingly, I did see Farkash there having a bit of a moment on the exit of the final corner. Obviously, you've got to ask, maybe you've got things like slightly out of practice on this circuit, not practice as much as at Estoril, fair enough. But the fact that Farkash started out quite strong and maybe is struggling now, I do wonder, maybe is it tyres? Has he overdone the tyres in the opening quarter? I know it's only been 10 minutes into the race, for 25 minutes. I'm not saying he's going to have tyre problems through the race, but it is kind of one of those ones of like, have you started out maybe a little bit too strong? And especially in the all-wheel drive of the Audi, if you're getting a little too heavy on the right foot, you can start causing problems later in the race.
Yeah, it certainly is quite an important factor for these drivers, but you'd assume they have it all in check. It might just be, mentally as well. It's a very stressful situation to have all these cars around you, and sometimes you just lose your rhythm, lose your consistency a little bit, and do need a couple of laps just to calm down a little bit. We'll have to see how that one obviously goes on, as we have an all-British battle here with Biddulph and Dixon. I'm sure they'll want to be up on the podium for their their home race as such. And was there a plane? Yeah, there is a plane coming out of East Midlands Airport, simulated in the game. Love that. Yeah,
indeed. Somewhere I've never flown out of, never flown into, probably never will. But it is always quite exciting. You get all those photographers, they stand at the Melbourne hairpin, they take photographs, you're coming up over the crest as you come out of the fog at ES. You get the car, you get the plane in the background. It's sick. Nowhere can you be a massive car fan and a plane spotter and have a great day out like you can here at Donington Park. But Lloyd Biddulph doing a great job to keep Bo Dixon at bay, not looking at planes, looking purely at the racetrack. Obviously, you can see Lloyd Biddulph there's a pretty big fan of touring cars here in Great Britain. Even Cam can tell what circuit that is.
Bransford?
Yeah, it is Bransford.
That was a bit of a guess. As we work our way through McLean's, sliding up the inside well, trying to, is Orban there, who's had a bit of his elbows out race so far, but he sat there in 8th place trying to get standard.
Yeah, indeed. Jan Stanger, 7th position at the moment, fresh off the retirement in the previous race, but fresh off the 7th position that he's currently running in, fresh from a good qualifying session and a good start to the race. 2 seconds though behind Lloyd Biddulph and Bo Dixon in 5th and 6th position. It's got Christian Orban right over the rear end too. I'm pretty sure Christian Orban's gone through this entire night and all of the race that we've had thus far and has had a car around him within a second over every single minute of racing, which is always one of the... some people really like that, some people really hate it. If you hate it, I'm like, this is probably the wrong hobby for you. You've got to enjoy the race, that's part of it. Rob Wiesemiller then, and Jean Petre fighting over 11th and 12th. Jean Petre's dumped the Vectra. He's decided to take an S41.
Yeah, another very good-looking car. To be honest, I do like it. It's not quite the same as the boxy fridge, but I do like the older Volvos. Where are Volvo in racing nowadays? It's been a bit of a shame because they are
supercars car race.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I mean that was good. I mean, that must be almost 10 years ago now since they left that. As we get a run up the hill for Orban, don't always see it here as we come through Schwann's curve. That's going to be the outside then for McLean's as he got his car ahead just enough to turn into the corner. No, has to leave room on that inside line, but that is a lovely move made there. Took 3 corners, but he's got it done.
Yeah, started it on the exit of the old hairpin, took it through Starkey's, took it through Schwann's, took it up to McLean's, and now they head onto the Starkey straight, and Christian Orban is clear of Jan Stanger on that one. Bo Dixon and Lloyd Biddulph continue their fight over 5th and 6th. Better drive coming through from Bo Dixon, bit of a slide in the exit coming in from Lloyd Biddulph, but is Bo Dixon even going to go for a move here? Nah, he's playing the long game. Doesn't want to go for a move now. One thing at the front of the race, the gap for the race lead's grown to nearly 1 second with 10 minutes left to go. Plenty of laps still to run here at Donington Park, but Ribeiro is comfortably clear.
He's looking very fast, as he did in the previous feature race back at the Hockenheimring a couple of weeks ago. So maybe in the longer races, he's a lot more comfortable and is able to basically just have that consistent flow at the front. You don't lose a 10th here, 10th there with some silly mistakes, but Farkash is still well within striking distance. But interestingly, Haas has dropped off as well, so they're all spreading out up towards the front as the race goes on, and they've easily pulled away from Biddulph there in 5th place. I do think though that Farkash will come back at some point. It just depends when, to be honest. But let's see. Ribeiro's looking strong.
No, I disagree with you. I don't think Farkash will come back at some point. I think that gap has been growing and growing, and I think unless Ribeiro makes a mistake here, he is running away with things and taking control of things here in the last race of the evening here at Donington Park. He seems to be one with the circuit. He was fantastic in the previous race of the evening at Estoril, and looks to try and take the race 3 victory this evening. Meanwhile, Lloyd Biddulph and Bo Dixon, this time they are going to switch around. Biddulph is going to back out of that one, going down into the Fog ES, and Bo Dixon is going to sneak his way through and slightly overcommit through the chicane.
Yeah, got it done though. Made it stick on the track. So definitely is looking good in that position as we see Filippo get very close, always pushing Haasa in towards the final corner with less than 10 minutes to go in this race. So much smoke gets just blown up in the air from these cars as they really spin up the wheels with the maybe less sporty differentials than we see nowadays. And in towards the first corner at Redgate. He's not close enough to make a move, but he is almost pushing him. Interesting that he doesn't dive down the inside.
Yeah, indeed, was maybe looking for a couple of moves, but yeah, Redgate's one of those ones where it's kind of like I almost don't really like diving it down the inside there. You can do inside or outside of Redgate. The problem is, you're almost certainly the move there is going to lead you side by side down through the cradle curves, and you will lose time in doing so, and it's really high risk going down there because one little bit of contact and you just get absolutely sent over the grass on the right hand side. Ask me how I know. It wasn't my fault.
Oh, that's a bit wide there for Haasa. So this is a good opportunity for Filippo as we come down the Starkey straight. But no, look at that. Of course, the exact same car, the exact same speed. just the tiniest bit of slipstream in towards the Fogarty S's. He needs to try and wait for a proper mistake, but Haase certainly doesn't make many of those.
No, been driving very well and very controlled, especially in the previous race. There is a mistake though. Enzo Filippo slamming that brake pedal and maybe getting it slightly wrong. And yeah, even he's a bit like, whoo, whoo, that was close.
Because even if you don't get past Haase, you don't want to completely kill your race. I know he's got a bit of a gap behind, but yeah, a four-wheel lock up there as he tries to slow the car down, really braking late and trying to make something stick, but not able to do so just yet. And a similar situation as Biddulph. He lost that place to Dixon and hasn't really had an opportunity to come back just yet, but I'm sure that is going to happen because he's staying right up the back of both the British drivers.
Yeah, indeed. A great fight between Dixon and Biddulph. 1.3 seconds back to Christian Orban. Keep an eye on that one, because I do think Christian Orban's been slowly closing his way in. The previous lap time from Christian Orban was about 3-4 tenths faster than Lloyd. Biddulph was about a half a second faster than Bo Dixon, so potentially the Hungarian is closing in here. Jan Stanger's completely missed the apex there going through McLean's. Obviously, to be fair, it doesn't really matter too much. You can run a little wider going through McLean's. It's Coppice, you need to hit the apex and run into it. You can run wide after, but you've really got to hit that apex on the entrance just to come over the hill. If you don't, then you're probably going into that grass.
Yeah, got to get the front end in because it's such a long exit. If you've missed it, then it's hard to turn because you want to get on the power, and obviously you can't really do both at the same time, or at least not in the most efficient way possible. So it is, but it's tricky. We saw on the lap with Lukita, I think it was fourth gear, that he was taking so very fast parts of the lap. As we come a little bit further down here, we've got some of the different cars. We've got the Vectra, we've got the BMW, we've got the Volvo in there as well. But Rene Buttler is sat behind all of it.
Yeah, you've got Rene Buttler in the Audi, you've got Volta in the Vectra there. I don't fully know why, but I really do like the Vectra livery. But there was something about this livery on the Vectra that I was like, I like that. Even though I'm kind of looking at it being like, I don't know why. I don't know why. But the TNT's one, I don't know, it looks right.
I agree, to be honest. I still can't go over that smoke through the hairpin, but no, you're absolutely right. The Vectra, I think, is quite a good looking car as well. Of course, it's kind of a Holden, not quite, but still a very good looking one. And trying to say, I liked, actually, okay, it wasn't the Vectra, but the Astra that came some years later with the Halford's livery. Oh my word, that was an absolute piece of history as well. As we see the mid-pack, 5 minutes to go. Sebastian Ray has been in a battle with these guys all day. Kudjek just up ahead. Peter Daniel as well. Of course, Steph Kramer's in behind.
Yeah, indeed. A tight fight here towards the back end of the top 20. Meanwhile, our race leader has taken full control over the race here at Donington Park. 2 seconds clear. If he's free of a mistake, this victory is his. I mean, look at the consistency. Best lap of the race, 134.132. Previous lap of the race, 134.171. Such consistency, such speed, such control around here. And once again, setting another good lap time, a 134.183. Keeping it in those 0.1s, so impressive.
That is absolutely ridiculous, and I now take back my comment. Farkash has not got a chance of coming back with this one, and this is what I was saying earlier about in the longer races. It's more, you don't necessarily gain your time by just being okay, fair enough, he's matching the purple lap time here, but even if you were half a second off him, if you were half a second off him every single lap, you'd be a lot better than someone who's 3 tenths, then 6 tenths, then 7 tenths, then 3, then 2, then 1. And is very inconsistent like that over the course of long distance. But the fact that he can do these lap times so close to the purple lap time, that is, just unbeatable, to be honest. And there's no reason why he shouldn't win this race if he continues to do that.
Yeah, like I say, he's very much in control of this one. And it is only a mistake that would cost him. Meanwhile, those behind, can Florian Haase maybe find a potential way past Bence Farkash here? Has he got the speed to close in and get past the Hungarian driver who might come out of the evening with just a single race victory? Oh, Comparing that to a couple of weeks ago, it almost seems like a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, even getting on the podium is a tough battle in this championship. So we are just being funny, but still, even then, I'm thinking he is going to be a bit disappointed. Ironically, with the couple of second places, but that is just what you have to be when you're going for this championship, and therefore, actually, the standing is going to be so close between those two, sharing all of the victories so far.
Yeah, indeed. We've had 6 races, the 6th race of the season, obviously the second round, 3 races a night. So 12 races in total before we get to the season finale. And of the 6 races that we've had thus far, all 6 have been won by either Ribeiro or Farkas. Those are the 2 that are in control of the RaceRoom Super Touring Championship. Grigor Hudjek closing up to the rear end of Peter Daniel, looking to the inside at Redgate, can't quite make the move, so remains behind. Sebastian Rene not too far behind. Same with Steph Kramers as well, closing right the way in, and potentially there might be a move coming in for the Audi in the near future.
And down the inside, it's not going to be this time around because it's all about the exit, and that was not a good one there from Hudjek. So Ray gets the run. He's thinking about it. He's trying to go to the right hand side. He's on the grass, trying to get to the inside of McLean's. Can he do it? Not quite. He really was trying that one to force the error, force an opportunity, but Hudjek is putting his car in the right place, at least in the defensive part. It didn't actually lose that much time to the victor ahead of Peter Daniel, but actually Daniel's gone way wide there. Having said that, he's kept his momentum going, so kept his foot in it at that part of the track. Sebastian Ray, once again, looking left, looking right, not making the move just yet, but still trying to put the pressure on with just one more lap remaining as we come a little bit further up. Moritz Lerner trying to defend for P13.
Yeah, Vladisavljevic looking to the outside as he kicks up a bit of smoke on the exit of the corner on the penultimate lap of the race. Battling with the Maus driver, just trying to get past Lerner, defends slightly going into the final left-hand corner and onto the final lap of the race. Can Vladisavljevic make a way through on Moritz Lerner up into 13th position? Would be a solid position to work as well to. Done very well this evening is Vladisavljevic.
Certainly is. We come back a little bit further up. Chari's continuing the battles that we saw earlier. Got past Vitford, dropped him. Now trying to get up into P8. He's got the run, he's got the momentum. Audi on Audi up towards McLean's. Is he going to have a dive on the final lap of the race? No, he's a little bit tighter on that inside, but no mistake up ahead.
Not indeed. Nowhere has there been mistakes in many of these fights, and nowhere has there been mistakes at the front of the field. For Bence Farkas, though, things might be slipping through his fingers in the battle for second position because Florian Haase is there. Yellow flag comes out. Peter Daniel, I think, has been round, so drops down the order. We'll come back to that one in a moment because we've got the final few corners to deal with. Tight line coming in from Florian Haase, trying to find his way past Bence Farkas, who is struggling in the final portion of this race. Maybe he did go too hot too soon. Someone who didn't know. Thomas Ribeiro, final corner for the Portuguese driver, winning the second race at Estoril and winning it in the 25-minute race, as he did a couple of weeks ago at the Hockenheimring. It is Ribeiro on top for the 3rd time this season. It's Bence Farkas and Florian Haase across the line in 2nd and 3rd, with Enzo Filippo. Those top 4, though, take about class of the field this round. They've been absolutely fantastic. Great fight as well from Bo Dixon and Lloyd Biddulph. The top 10, though, belongs to Audi. Rob Wiesemuller there, the highest placed non-Audi driver, of course, bringing the Honda Accord across the line. And some bigger battles in behind as well. Sean Moritz Lerner will be a bit disappointed to not quite be in the top 10, but what a performance it was from those Audis. As you say, they just had the speed today and they were able to have the consistency as well. Look at that from Ribeiro in the end with the fastest lap as well. I mean, he's almost a second faster than Biddulph, and remember, he was doing multiple laps in the 34.1. That is the speed that he had today, and that's why he won by 4 seconds. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal performance during this race from Tomas Ribeiro. Bence Farkas has to settle for second position, but 4 seconds behind Ribeiro. Then it's Florian Haase, Enzo Filippo, Bo Dixon, Lloyd Biddulph, Christian Orban, of course, Jan Stanger, Patrick Chari, Luciano Vitford, the top 10 finishers in the Donington Park race here, the 25-minute one. Then it's Wiesemuller, Jean Petra, Lerner, Vladisavljevic was not able to get past Lerner on the final lap. Hendrik Lichtenhagen in 15th position with Ray, Hudjek, Kramers, Bent, Nats as well in the top 20. Of course, still 11 drivers left on this fantastic field. Vinieri, Schulze, Wan Shilin, Strumer, Arde, Volta, Daniel, Wolk, Rydell, and of course, Rene Buttler. A retirement from the race, unfortunately, for Rene Buttler, as was Kubalaya. And unfortunately, a did not start coming in from Andika Rama Molana after a game crash during qualifying, wasn't able to jump in. But I think Ribeiro's the talk of the town this evening, Cam. Looked absolutely incredible there, and a very well-deserved victory for Ribeiro.
Absolutely. After that first race in Estoril, where he ended up being a third, Pine Filippo as well, I was thinking, oh, maybe he's going to be just short tonight. But he came out swinging in that second race, made the move on Farkash, and then looked strong to hold on. Similarly today, didn't get that pole position, but was able to get the move and stick it out towards the front. So he's definitely got the speed, and this is going to be a very interesting championship. Obviously, halfway through already now, and he's looking to lock himself in. Basically, it's the top 30 in the standings after these 4 rounds. They will go to the finale, and I mean, they're basically confirmed with the points that they have now, but they're looking strong. And we go to some very interesting tracks next time out as well, so you never know how that's going to spice it up.
Yeah, indeed. Should be a very, very exciting one in a couple of weeks' time, of course. If you are out there and you do think maybe you can qualify for this, of course, you can do so by downloading RaceRoom Racing Experience, of course, on Steam. And jumping and give it a go on the leaderboards. Maybe seeing if you can find your way into the top 30 and find your way onto the grid when we go racing at Arvis in a couple of weeks' time. Very different. They're very different kind of circuits, Avis. So... do you know what? Is the interesting one, Cam? I'm sure it's the same for you. Never commentated around there.
Nope. Don't know if I've ever actually seen it. I've obviously seen clips and whatnot. I don't know if I've ever seen like a full-on broadcast. So that is a great one to have in the game, actually. And it's going to be a very interesting track with some tricky chicanes as well. So some overtakes might be quite weird.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, obviously, we've got the current standings for the various awards that we've got. Of course, the pole position award, which is powered by Asher Racing. So we've got certain prizes up for grabs over the evening. So the Asher Racing dashboard there up for grabs. At the moment, Ben Farkash is the one comfortably in control in that one. 4 pole positions to Kristen Newhash and Thomas Ribeiro's 1 piece. But of course, we do have plenty of other awards up for grabs. The fastest lap award, which Thomas Ribeiro there taking the fastest lap in that final race, puts himself in comfortable position ahead of Ben Farkash and Florian Haase in the fastest lap award, powered by the Sensit haptics there. Of course, the haptic feedback seat being the prize there for that one. And like I say, plenty of other prizes up for grabs. Motor Direct Drive wheelbase. We do also have the Taylor Rig Complete with a seat as well, and cash prizes as well for the top 10. I think the total prize pool, including all of those prizes that have been given by our fantastic sponsors, totals around €5,000 up for grabs, which almost would put one of your BMWs back on the road. Hey.
Unbelievable.
Sorry.
Unbelievable. My car works absolutely fine. Thank you very much. That's because I don't use it because I've got a bike. But, you know, we'll get there one day.
Yeah, that's fine. I think Ben Farkash, by the way, might be ready for a quick interview here before we jump on out. A driver who's been absolutely fantastic throughout this season thus far. We've got him in the comments booth here, and we'll ask a couple of questions. Ben, this round, obviously, has still been solid. You've got a victory under your name. You've got yourself another couple of podiums there. But let's talk about the race that we've just had. Had pole position, ran away with things at the start, dropped back into the clutch to Ribeiro and those behind. What happened in the race? Did you go out a little bit too strong early on and maybe burn out your tyres or something?
Hello, everyone. No, really, he was really fast, you know. We had the same pace, actually, maybe 110 to me, 110 to him, so it wasn't that much. And maybe I wasn't that aggressive that I would have to be, so yeah, it cost me the win at the second race, but at the first race, it was very good. And actually, I was very surprised that I had 3 pole positions, so especially at the third race, because I had not had the opportunity to, you know, focus on the quali setups and everything. at Donington. Then it was my first race at Donington too, so it was very good and really it was really a good race and having fun. But actually, Thomas was really quick at this track and with the Audi, so I had not have the guns to fight back. But it's okay. It's racing, and it was really good.
And next time out, obviously, we go to Avis, which is a very different type of circuit. How do you feel about going to something like that that's completely different to a normal Grand Prix venue?
Honda power. I hope so. I don't know. I don't know the track either, so it will be quite a journey to understand the track and the the corners and straights and setups and everything. But at first look, it don't seem to me it is a rowdy track, so maybe it's good for me. I don't know. Thomas is really quick with the Audi, and I had not have the best setup today. Maybe a bit too understeer at low speed corners and a bit too oversteer at high speed corners. So I have to fix that. But after that, everything will be quite interesting. So yeah, looking forward to go to that track and maybe we have a good fight again.
Well, I'll see if there's going to be a welcome return for you into the Honda Accord, or maybe have to pick something different. Bence will maybe talk to you in a couple of weeks' time. Best of luck when we go racing.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
And there we go. Superb performance this evening, Cam, from both Bence Farkas and from Thomas Rivera. And to be fair, give a shout out to Enzo Filippo, who looked very good. And of course, trying to keep them company as well. It's been a great fight. Florian Haase also being up there as well for races 2 and 3. Great evening of racing.
Oh, absolutely. And even in the mid-pack, we saw some pretty crazy battles as well. 5 wide at one point at Estoril. Unfortunately, it didn't end very well, but at least they tried it. And as you're saying for Filippo, I think he's going to be a little bit disappointed with the results in general because of how close it is. Getting a 4th place finish is actually quite a big loss of points as such, with how, in terms of percentage, how close it is. So I think he really needs to try and sneak at least 1, if not 2 victories next time out to have a chance really at the championship.
Well, of course, we will see you then in a couple of weeks' time when we go racing once again. It'll be old and new once again, obviously old in the first race, and that's where the leaderboard will be taking part. So if you want to come and take part in the RaceRoom Super Touring Championship, then you can do so by doing some hot laps around Avis, which, I might even give it a go. I've never driven the circuit, so it's one of the very few that I've actually not thrown a car around. So maybe Lewis McGlade, Cameron Roger, we're going to have to give it a good go round there and see if we can set any decent lap times. I'll see you out on the racetrack, Cam. Of course, we'll be racing at Zolder also, but that is in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. I've been Lewis McGlade. Cam Rod's been alongside. Obviously, a big shout out as well to Captain Coffee, who's been bringing us the broadcast. We wouldn't have pictures without him. So again, a big thank you to Chris as well. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time when we go racing once again in the RaceRoom Super Touring Championship. Until then, mate, have a very warm goodbye.